Peace, peace, peace. Shalom, shalom. Shalom. Assalamu alaikum. And welcome to another day to labor in the vineyard of the Most High. With your brother. Another day to get in the word, to see what the Most High got to serve. And what we gonna eat on today? We gonna get more clarification on the truth of the Supreme Being. Alright, we gonna clarify that a little more as we continue to dismiss the God spell and to go more back to our ancient ways and understanding. Alright? Because like we know, the Gentiles and corrupted a lot of our teachings and a lot of our books. So our perception of our Creator is a little distorted. Alright? So we're going to get a little better understanding of the Creator. Not the Father, but the Creator, the Supreme Being, the Supreme Consciousness. Alright? So when you read them books that the Gentiles gave us back about your Creator sitting around crying, oh no. When I seen that, I make that face like Shaka Zulu made when the man told him his God could die. Shaka said, your God can die? He couldn't understand how that worked when the white man said that. What you mean your God can die? That's the same way I feel when I see something about the Creator sitting around crying. What you mean my God cry? My God don't cry, he don't die, and he don't lie. None of that. All those are mortal aspects. That's not the Supreme Being aspects. The Supreme Being don't sit around crying because of your carnal state. Nah, that's an error. And they get people caught up in it sometimes. So let's clarify, get a better understanding of our Creator. Let's eat. We're going to start in Ephesians, so we can tie this thing together here. So we can continue to destroy the spell that we read about in the Keys of Enoch that Lucifer and the fallen energies then cast upon us to try to keep us blinded to the truth, keep us stuck in the matrix. Ephesians 4, chapter 17. This I say therefore, and testify in the Lord, that ye henceforth walk not as the Gentiles walk, in the vanity of their mind. And Gentiles is not just referring to white folks like we think. Oh no. A lot of these niggas is Gentiles, and they just don't know it. Oh, let's eat. Having the understanding darkened, being alienated from the life of God through the ignorance that is in them. Being alienated from the life of their Creator through the ignorance that is in them because of the blindness of their heart. Now go to John. John chapter 4, starting at verse 22. Ye worship ye know not what. Ye worship ye know not what. The Gentiles gave us this image of God sitting up on a cloud looking down over all his creatures, all his kids and everything else. And he just sitting up there watching, smiling, crying, all that, all them human attributes. So a lot of us, we still got that image of our Creator that the Gentiles gave us. No, we gotta get rid of that. Ye worship, ye know not what. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. And it's not talking about all black folks right here. That's what the council, how you think. Salvation is of the Jews. No, it's not talking about everybody. But the hour comes, and now is, when the true worshipers shall worship the Father in spirit and in truth. For the Father seeks such to worship him. Your Creator is a spirit. Your Creator is consciousness. God is a spirit, and they that worship him must worship him in spirit and in truth. Let's go to the Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. The Metaphysical Bible Dictionary. We're going to start with the definition of Gentiles. Gentiles. The Gentiles of the Bible comprise all nations and people that were not of Israelite origin and faith. Metaphysically, the Gentiles mean worldly thoughts. Thoughts pertaining to the external, temporal, fleshly, or thoughts that function through the senses, which you can see, taste, smell, touch, all that. The Gentile is the unregenerate state of mind in us. The Gentile is the unregenerate state of mind. As we go on, we gotta get past the classic concept of Jew and Gentile, black and white, that carnal paradigm. No, we going closer into the light. We gotta start thinking that way. The Gentile is the unregenerate state of mind. Those who have not renewed their mind, they Gentiles. Let's go over to the definition of Jews. Jews, people belonging to the tribe and kingdom of Judah only, or to the Hebrew nation generally. That's just a basic definition. Now, what we want is the metaphysical definition. Jews in their highest aspect symbolize divine ideals or spiritual consciousness. Salvation is of the Jews. Salvation is of spiritual consciousness. Each individual has his formless and his formed mind, and they seem in the present race consciousness to be hostile one to the other. Alright, again, each individual has his formless and his formed mind, and they seem in the present race consciousness to be hostile one to the other. In scripture, these two concepts are referred to as Jew and Gentile. The Jew representing the spiritual consciousness, and Gentile representing the worldly consciousness. Mind has two broad aspects, the formless and the formed, the spiritual and the temporal. In its formless aspect, in the spiritual aspect, it is a unity. In its formed, temporal, or carnal aspect, it is a diversity. It might be compared in its first aspect, the spiritual aspect, to vapor, and in its second, to the same vapor precipitated into crystals of snow. In the vapor or spiritual aspect, there's a homogeneous whole, a oneness. In the snow, the temporal aspect, each little crystal has form and character peculiar to its own. Raise these inanimate crystals to the plane of thought and free will, and you have a parallel to the formed mind of humanity, the carnal mind, based off the senses and what it can see, feel, taste, smell, touch. In the New Testament, Jews symbolize our established religious thoughts and systems of worship. The Jews were always the hardest to reach with the new thought. Speaking on the Israelites, it's easier for Gentiles to grasp new concepts than us. Oh, we set in our ways, and it's hard to make somebody change it. The Jews, the Hebrews, and you got with Gentile writings, they're not gonna put Hebrews or they're not gonna put Israelites. They're just gonna put Jews. So sometimes the Spirit show you where to substitute. The Hebrews were always the hardest to reach with the new thought. They were very set in their religion, and they usually referred even to listening to new teachings, and they usually refuse. They usually refuse even to listen to new teachings of truth. And that's what we find nowadays, where some people would never come out of them camps because they refuse to accept new ways of thought. Alright? They refuse to accept new concepts about spirituality. That's how the Hebrew Israelite movement can turn into a religion. And for a lot of us, it is a religion. It's a blackified form of Christianity that give you a little bit more meat, but spiritually, it's still unfulfilling. Alright? And that's how people get caught up in them stagnant waters of them camps. So we find in ourselves that our religious convictions or spiritual convictions frequently stand in the way of our accepting the new revelations of truth that come to us. The Orthodox Church has a very large number of people who are truly spiritual. And that's true. All of the world churches got a lot of spiritual people in them, but because of the teachings, that stagnant water, they never grow because they get stuck in their ways and they don't want to hear nothing else. And that Gentile worldly mindset then set in to where you just think your religion is all you need, and all you need to do is listen to your pastor, and that's going to get you into heaven. All right? That's why they stuck in idolatry. They worship Jesus instead of turning into Jesus. Nah, you're not supposed to. He said, don't worship me. Nah, you're supposed to turn into me. You're not supposed to worship me. But the world view things backwards. That's that Gentile, unregenerate state of mind. The Orthodox Church has a very large number of people who are truly spiritual and will quickly grasp the real import of being a follower of Christ, were they free from the restraints of religious habits of thought and worship and from the established customs of the church. The Jews symbolize our religious thoughts, our spiritual consciousness, like we read in the beginning. All right? And the Gentile symbolizes our worldly thoughts. So we got spiritual consciousness and we got worldly consciousness. That's what the Jew and Gentile represent. The Jews are those that are able to walk in spiritual consciousness. Jews are not, the true Jews are not a race of people, just like we seen in the last lesson about Israel. Israel is a program, all right? It's born into every race of people because it select seeds out every race that are Jews, the Most High's Jews, his Jews, his pieces of spiritual consciousness that reflect his light onto the others. Paul was determined to reconcile the Jew and the Gentile. In the Kabbalah tree teachings, the Yod Head, Wad Head, you're supposed to connect the upper realm to the lower realm. All right? Zeir and Pin is supposed to connect the Malkut. In the Bible, it said You supposed to have your heaven right here on earth. You got to combine the two worlds, all right? Oh, let's keep eating. We find that there is a separation between our spiritual consciousness and our worldly consciousness. We have built up a Sunday religion and thrown around it a wall of sacredness. This includes Friday, Saturday, and Sundays. Muslims worship on Friday and Saturday, just like the Hebrews do. All of that is included. In it are rites and ceremonies and sacrifices according to a standard fixed by some sects, whose teachings about God we have accepted as true. Then the broad truth of the Holy Spirit enters the mind and begins to break down this wall of separation between the religious thoughts and the worldly thoughts. It perceives that the principles involved in the fatherhood of God must go to the uttermost parts of the mind and the body and unify them in spirit. That's how your brothers walk. That's how Buddha walk. That's how Krishna walk. That's how Yahweh walk. The mind and body and spirit was one. It perceives that the principles involved in the fatherhood of God must go to the uttermost parts of the mind and the body and unify them in spirit. Oneness. Oneness is the key. Fixed traditional religious thoughts. Fixed traditional religious thought. The Jews that follow the ladder of the law rather than the living truth that seeks to unite in spiritual harmony both Jews and Gentiles are the opposing force in Jerusalem, which is the heavenly city, which it says right here is the spiritual consciousness. The holy city is spiritual consciousness. All right? That's what Jerusalem is symbolic of. The scriptures is symbolic in many ways. You got to learn it carnally first. And then as you grow spiritually, your understanding of the scriptures start to change. All right? You start seeing the metaphysical aspects as you grow. It's different levels to it. All right? And right now, everybody, through the collective consciousnness, that's what we're working through right now. So the ones that can grasp the milk, you're gonna be upgraded quickly. And if you're struggling with it, you gotta start to use the entities in the spiritual realm. You gotta pray for the minister angels to be sent to guide you. You gotta use everything that you got right now. And the Most High got ones of us out here teaching, getting you back the keys to oneness. You got entities in the spiritual realm that can assist you, but that's why we read in the beginning. You got to worship God in truth and in spirit. You got to know you a spirit. If you don't know you a spirit, spirits can't assist you. But when you recognize that you part of the tribe of light, you can call on the light to quicken your spirit. The holy city, Jerusalem, represents spiritual consciousness. Again, fixed traditional religious thoughts, the Jews that followed the ladder, it should be the Hebrews that followed the ladder of the law rather than the living truth that seek to unite in spiritual harmony, both Jews and Gentiles are the opposing force in Jerusalem that would hinder the word presented by Paul from doing this work. But the living word of truth cannot be killed. You can't kill the living waters. The living word of truth cannot be killed. You cannot stop the living waters. Paul's words of truth were bound for a time, but they have filled the whole world. So it is with the living words of truth now being sown in our consciousness. They will do their work of restoration throughout our being. As your mind change, your whole being start to change. When people's mind change, their health start to change. Everything start to change in accordance with your consciousness. All right? Healing starts within. That's how the Gentiles make all this money, by teaching us to focus on worldly, carnal, temporal things. You can heal anything on your body. You got to go within to be able to do it. Anything that you see animals can heal themselves. You think you can't do it? And you got a greater mind than them? Nah. That's that worldly consciousness that's been imparted into your mind by this society. And due to us not understanding the true nature of the Supreme Being, which we a drop of the Supreme. Alright? So now we're about to go into these teachings on the Supreme Being, and it'll help you see how going inside is the way to everything. Let's go to the Hermetica. The Hermetica. This is one of the teachings of Tahuti, or Hermes, Thoth, Enoch, whatever name floats your boat. The Hermetica. Now let's learn about Atum. Studying the teachings of the Creator outside of Hebrew, Christian, Israelite doctrine give you a different perspective. You start to understand your Creator a lot differently. Alright? And that's how the Most High set me up backwards, where I really got into the Bible and stuff later on. I started off with the Kemet, Osiris, in Islam. I was studying Islam and the teachings of Kemet together at the same time, because I had seen where Malcolm X had went over there and he said that it was the different things over there. And I got to looking and searching, and I got to studying both of them together at the same time. Then I started studying the teachings of Buddha and Krishna. I was always attracted to Krishna because he was blue, and I just wanted to know why he was blue and learn more about him. And then studying him and Buddha, the teachings, the Hindu teachings ain't as corrupted by the Gentiles as the Hebrew teachings, the Christian teachings, whatever you prefer to call them. All right, the Hebrew books of scripture, whereas it's a lot the carnal aspects they put in there, because they knew we was gonna go looking through them teachings, but they didn't count on us connecting that the Hebrews and the Hindus and Kemet, they were all the same people, all on right there together. Alright, including the Buddhists. It's books that teach. All of them was in that same area together. A lot of their customs was all the same. But like it said in the sealed portion, how the people that put the Bible together, the Jews that did that, them brothers had ulterior motives. That's why Jesus was always at war with the Pharisees and the Sadducees, because they was hiding the truth from the people. Alright? At that time, just like in Kemet, alright, the people in Kemet that was running things, they was hiding the truth from the people. The same thing with the Hindu rulers at a certain time. That's why you get to study in Jesus' younger life. He went going teaching the era of their doctrine, because they were trying to hide the truth. Alright, he came to expose all of the truth that had been hidden. Osiris, he came along with Thoth, Tahuti, teaching the Egyptians, and that was before the corruption came. Just like Buddha was sent to the people in that area. Alright, Siddhartha, I believe, was his real name. Buddha was the title. I can't remember Krishna's real name, but he was also sent. The Most High sent people to each area to teach and to bring them into the light of the truth. But as time went on, power came into play, and everybody wanted to hide the truth, because if the truth get out, You can't control the people no more. All right? Your government not going to operate properly. You ain't going to be able to force people to do this, that, and the third if they get the true knowledge of their creator. Which this is what we about to see. And that's how in the last lesson we went into talking about how it's about consciousness. The Lord your God is the supreme consciousness. Christ came with the supreme consciousness. Buddha came with the supreme consciousness. Osiris, Haru, they came with the supreme consciousness. Alright? But you got to know the Lord your God, your creator, to be able to access that supreme consciousness. That's why you can't look at your creator as some man sitting off somewhere just looking down smiling at what you doing. Or sitting there around crying because you going through tribulation. Nah. Them gentile teachings. Let's see. The being of Atum. Give me your whole awareness and concentrate your thoughts. For knowledge of Atum's being requires deep insight, which comes only as a gift of grace. It is like a plunging torrent of water, whose swiftness outstrips any man who strives to follow it. Leaving behind not only the hearer, but even the teacher himself. To conceive of Atum is difficult. To define him is impossible. The imperfect and impermanent cannot easily apprehend the eternally perfected. Atum is whole and constant. In himself, he is motionless, yet he is self-moving. He is immaculate, incorruptible, and everlasting. He is the supreme, absolute reality. He is filled with ideas which are imperceptible to the senses. And with all-embracing knowledge, Atum is primal mind. He is too great to be called by the name Atum. He is hidden, yet obvious everywhere. His being is known throughout thought alone, yet we see his form before our eyes. He is bodiless, yet embodied in everything. There is nothing which he is not. He has no name, because all names are his name. He is the unity in all things. So we must know him by all names and call everything Atum. He is the root and source of all. Everything has a source except this source itself, which springs from nothing. Atum is complete, like the number one, which remains itself, whether multiplied or divided, and yet generates all numbers. Atum is the whole, which contains everything. He is one, not two. He is all, not many. The all is not many separate things, but the oneness that subsumes the parts. The all and the one are identical. We are a drop out of the all. The all and the one are identical. They're identical. But due to worldly consciousness, we start to view ourselves as different from the all. All y'all that's out here on the same wave with me and the other brothers and sisters, we all one in spirit. And we are striving for the same goal. All right? Which is oneness with Atum or Brahman. All right? And through that, we achieve the goal of coming up out of the flesh. All right? That's what Christ did. He told you, I and the Father am one. I only do the will of him that sent me. He wasn't concerned with worldly affairs. They didn't do nothing for him, because he knew it wasn't real. He didn't pay attention to what the Gentiles were doing. He didn't care what they were doing. It didn't affect them. Alright? He knew the true power. And he came to teach his people, because they were the original people, made in the image of Atum, the truth about their creator. Alright? Because the truth was being corrupted all around the world about the creator. All of the ascended masters, the lords of light, came to keep that spot alive about the truth of the creator. Not the image of God that the world then gave us. Let's keep reading. You think that things are many when you view them as separate. But when you see they all hang on to one and flow from the one, you will realize they are united, linked together, and connected by a chain of being from the highest to the lowest, all subject to the will of Atum. Yet the things that the eye can see are mere phantoms and illusions. Only those things invisible to the physical eye are real. Above all are the ideas of beauty and goodness. Just as the eye cannot see the being of Atum, so it cannot see these great ideas. They are attributes of Atum alone and are inseparable from him. When you see beauty and goodness, you see your creator. They are so perfectly without blemish that Atum himself is in love with them. There is nothing which Atum lacks, so nothing that he desires. There is nothing that Atum can lose, so nothing can cause him grief. There is nothing that Atum can lose, so nothing can cause him grief. Atum is everything. Atum makes everything, and everything is a part of Atum. Atum therefore makes himself. This is Atum's glory. He is all creative, and this creating is his very being. That's why he called the creator. It is impossible for him to ever stop creating, for Atum can never cease to be. Atum is everywhere. Mind cannot be enclosed, because everything exists within mind. Nothing is so quick and powerful. Just look at your own experience. Imagine yourself in any foreign land, and quick as your intentions, you will be there. Try and understand that Atum is mind, or Atum is consciousness, because mind is consciousness. This is how he contains the cosmos. All things are thoughts. Thoughts are waves of consciousness, which the Creator thinks. Just like us. We think and we bring it into being. Atum thinks, and some of his thoughts are creator gods, and them creator gods bring things into being. Same way we bring things into being. Alright? But none of us got the power to give life in the form like our creator does. Because like you said, everything where it was created is created inside of him. So when we create, we procreate, we think we give it life, we create the shell. Alright? When you have a baby, the baby is just a vessel of flesh until the spirit is injected after the first breath. Your body got its own level of consciousness, because the body, like we read in the beginning, it was created by one of the creator gods. So it has its own wave of consciousness. The baby that's carried around for 9 months, the spirit is not in the womb. The body has its own consciousness, which allows it to move and do things. But the spirit don't go in until the first breath comes. Alright? We done went over that in different lessons. Alright? So we give life to the body, but there's something else that injects the spirit into the vessel that we create. Alright? That's how reincarnation, a lot of people still can't process it, but it's a deep concept right there. Alright? You will be judged for what you did. You're going to get sit back down into flesh that was created specifically for your karma, good or bad. Alright? But all we do is create the vessels for the spirits to get placed in. Alright? Knowledge of Atum. To know Atum, you must share his identity. For only like can truly know like. Leave behind the material world and imagine yourself immeasurably expansive. Rise out of time to eternity. Believe that for you, nothing is impossible. See that you are immortal and learned in every art and science. Be at home in the haunts of every living creature. Make yourself higher than the highest and deeper than the depths. Embrace within yourself all opposites, heat and cold, hard and fluid. Think yourself everywhere at once, on land, at sea, in heaven. Imagine yourself unborn in the womb, yet also young and old and already dead, and in the world beyond the grave. See that everything coexists within mind. As we was reading through that list right there, your mind will picture what was just read. You can picture yourself here, there. That's consciousness. That's what we going back to learning how to tap into. And that's how we read when he said, everything that you see, that's the illusion. That's the matrix right there. The matrix can be altered. In the last lesson, when we read about the earth heating up according to our changing, our awakening, that's consciousness right there working. It ain't got nothing to do with the physical, but the underlying reality alters the temporal reality. Alright? This is why he had to put us to sleep for the Gentiles to have power over us. Because we knew the power of our thoughts and we knew how to control the elements and work with creation. We knew the underlying reality, and that's what we forgot. The spirit, consciousness, is the underlying reality. And when we learn to tap back into that, we can alter everything out here. That's what Paul said. The weapons of our warfare are not carnal. We don't need these carnal weapons that the Gentiles got. Nah, all our weapons is within. And do what the Gentiles know. And that's why things is changing at a rapid pace right now. As we continue to increase, they're going to decrease. Because our reality is going to take center stage. That's how the kingdom of light is being ushered in, and the kingdom of darkness is falling apart. This is why in the sealed portion they talk about Lucifer going to start pulling out all the tricks the closer it gets to the end. This is why he going to pull out the warfare. Because he know he can't beat us. And with the collective consciousness rising, more and more of us are going to help to quicken this reality change. The dimensions is beginning to merge together like we read in the last lesson. See that everything coexists within mind. All time and all places. All things of all shapes and sizes. Then you will know Atum. If it is possible to talk of the substance of Atum, then mind is the very divine substance. If it is possible to talk of the substance of your creator, then consciousness is the very divine substance. Although only Atum knows its precise nature, nobody can know the nature of consciousness except the creator. Although only Atum knows its precise nature, mind consciousness is not separate from Atum, but emanates from him like light from the sun. In human beings, consciousness or mind produces divinity. Through mind or consciousness, some become godlike, those who are able to elevate their consciousness. For as Osiris or Asa teaches, remember, he was sent into Kemet as a Lord of Light to elevate them. For as Asa teaches, gods, the Elohim, are immortal men, and men are mortal gods. And you link that with Psalms 82:6. I have said ye are gods, but ye should die like men. You still a god, but you gonna die like a man because your consciousness levels then drop that low. Alright? Oh, let's keep eating. We're gonna help more and more brothers and sisters break free from the spell. The God spell. The gospel is the God spell that the Gentiles and took all over the world. It was used to wake us up. It was kept as a remembrance of who we are. To now, we got that. We know who he is. Now, it's time to dismiss the spell and get lit and take it to another level. Father, you have filled me with this good and beautiful vision. My mind's eye is almost blinded with splendor, more penetrating than visible light, yet so full of immortal light, that it does not hurt or harm me. By your mercy, a form has been fashioned within me, which is not made of matter, and I have entered into an immortal body. I have been born again in mind or consciousness, and the bodily shape I had before has left me. I am no longer an object, tangible, colored with spatial dimensions. I am alien to all that is seen with bodily eyesight. Remember Lucy? At the end of Lucy, when she turned into pure consciousness, I said in the last video, now we're seeing it in the scriptures right here. To such eyes, I am no longer visible. I am your instrument. Mind consciousness is your plectrum, and your wisdom plucks music from me. I sang a song of my soul, for your love has reached me. You have made me a new being, and I no longer see with bodily eyes, but witness with mine. When a man is born again, he is not a body of 3 dimensions. He is all mind, all consciousness. And now that I see in mind, I perceive myself to be the all. I am in heaven and earth. I am in water and air. I am in beasts and plants. I am a newborn babe. I am still in the womb. I am yet to be conceived. I am the presence which is present everywhere. I see incredible depths. How can I describe this vision? With my mind, I see mine. Oh, with my mind, I see mine. I know the one that wakes me from forgetfulness. I see my soul. I am afraid to speak. I have found the source of the power. I have found the source of the power of all powers that has no beginning. I see a fountain bubbling with life. I am mine. I have seen. I have found that which I seek. I know peace and your purpose. By your will, I am born again. By the will of your creator, because you didn't purify yourself. And then you didn't accept the knowledge from the books of life, which allows you to be reborn again. Oh, let's keep eating. Let's keep eating. The upper Nishads. The upper Nishads. One of my favorite Hindu books. Now let's read about Brahman. We read about Atum. Atum is from the spiritual system of Kemet. Alright, that's why I say about Osiris teaching that. Now let's get it from the Hindu aspect and see where they done duped us and dumbed us down and tricked us. But some of our other systems, that's why it's important to know. Kemet, that was us. The Hindus, that was us. The Buddhists, that was us. Everybody was us. We was just split up. We had different trains of thought. We had different governments trying to control what information we received. Oh, but all of it was us. The spell, the God spell, then separated all of the children of light. The spiritual lights, what we doing, we bringing back the oneness. The oneness. One shepherd, one fold. We bringing back the oneness of all the lights. That's where the power is. Oh, let's eat. Chapter 1, Katha. The secret of immortality is to be found in purification of the heart, in meditation, and realization of the identity of the self within, and Brahman without. For immortality is union with your creator. Page 7. The truth of the self, the spirit man. The truth of the self cannot be fully understood when taught by an ignorant man, an unlearned man. For opinions regarding it, not founded in knowledge, vary one from another. Subtler than the subtlest is this self, and beyond all logic. Taught by a teacher who knows the self and Brahman as one, a man leaves vain theory behind. A man leaves vain theory behind and attains to truth. The ancient, effulgent being, the indwelling spirit, subtle, deep hidden in the lotus of the heart, is hard to know. But the wise man, following the path of meditation, knows him and is freed alike from pleasure and from pain. The man who has learned that the self is separate from the body, the senses, and the mind, and has fully known him, the soul of truth, the subtle principle, such a man verily attains to him and is exceedingly glad, because he has found the source and dwelling place of all felicity, meaning happiness, joy, peace. Alright, right here where it say king of death, you gotta realize the spirit is king over death. Like our brother Jesus said, death, where is thy sting? He was a king over death. Alright, let's see. Of that gold which all the Vedas is Hindu scriptures, of that gold which all the Vedas declare, which is implicit in all penances, and in pursuit of which men lead lives a continence and service. Of that will I briefly speak. It is Om. This syllable is Brahman. This syllable is indeed supreme. Who knows it obtains his desire. It is the strongest support. What that mean? If you start having worldly thoughts, if demons start attacking your mind, sit there and start vibrating. When you start that vibration, that within, all them demons is gone. They out. But we've been taught that don't belong to us. You see it on movies. I done seen it on movies where they get to talking about the Olmecs. They talk about the Mayans. Even though I believe Indiana Jones, where he went in the temple back in the day and they went, you just heard that chant. It be in a whole lot of cartoons and different things, but we don't know that that's ours. And we don't recognize the power within it. We're going to see in some upcoming lessons, but you start to sit there and vibrate within your being with that or the demons is gone. The worldly thoughts is gone. Your mind is going to be clear. Just try it and see. It is the strongest support. It is the highest symbol. He who knows it is reverenced as a knower of Brahman. The self, whose symbol is Om, is the omniscient Lord. He is not born. He does not die. He is neither cause nor effect. This ancient one, speaking on the spirit man, is unborn, imperishable, eternal. Though the body be destroyed, he is not killed. If the slayer thinks that he slays, if the slain thinks that he is slain, neither of them know the truth. The self slays not, nor is he slain. Smaller than the smallest, greater than the greatest, this self forever dwells within the hearts of all. When a man is free from desire, his mind and senses purified, he beholds the glory of the self and is without sorrow. Though seated, he travels far. Though at rest, he moves all things. Who but the purest of the pure can realize this effulgent being, who is joy and who is beyond joy? Formless is he, though inhibiting form. In the midst of the fleeting, he abides forever. All pervading and supreme is the self. The wise man, knowing him in his true nature, transcends all grief. The self is not known through study of the scriptures, nor through subtlety of the intellect, nor through much learning. But by him who longs for him is he known. Verily unto him does the self reveal his nature, his true being. By learning, a man cannot know him if he desists not from evil. By learning, a man cannot know him if he desists not from evil. If he control not his senses, if he quiet not his mind and practice not meditation. Brahman is the end of the journey. Brahman is the supreme goal. This Brahman, this self, deep hidden in all beings, is not revealed to all. This Brahman, this self, the spirit man, deep hidden in all beings, is not revealed to all, but to the seers, pure in heart, concentrated in mind. To them is he revealed. The senses of the wise man obey his mind. His mind obeys his intellect. His intellect obeys his ego. And his ego obeys the self. The self-existent made the senses turn outward. Accordingly, man looks toward what is without and sees not what is within. And the kingdom of heaven is within. But everybody has been trained to look outward, not inward. Rare is he who, longing for immortality, shuts his eyes to what is outside and beholds the self which is within. Fools follow the desires of the flesh and fall into the snare of all-encompassing death. But the wise, knowing the self as eternal, seek not the things that are temporal, that pass away. He through whom man sees, tastes, smells, hears, feels, and enjoys is the omniscient Lord. He verily is the immortal self. Knowing him, one knows all things. Again, he through whom man sees, tastes, smells, hears, feels, and enjoys is the omniscient Lord. You know that's true? Because somebody can mention some, like I say, fried chicken. You can taste it, you can smell it, all that. Your sense, everything is recorded within your spirit, man. Everything that it experiences here. Alright? So you can sit back and you can just reflect on anything. The way anything, what it say? Anything you done seen, anything that you done tasted through your flesh, your spirit can think about it and you're going to be able to taste it in your mind. Anything you done smelled, you can just sit back and think about it, and that scent will come to mind. Anything you done heard, feel, anything you done felt that felt good or bad, you can sit back and reminisce on that feeling. And if you close your eyes, it will be just like you feeling it all over again. The one that enjoys all of that all of that is recorded in, is the omniscient Lord, that spirit man. All right. He verily is the immortal self. Knowing him, one knows all things. The flesh is that's the vehicle the spirit used to pick up experience. All right? Experience to mold him. The creator experiencing creation through different drops of himself. All right? And molding that creation for the betterment of all. That's why the fallen energies come to take you away from that aspect right there. They want you to create everything for the detriment. But that's why in the sealed portion, when they talk about when Christ come back, all right, that everything is going to be changed and built to the betterment, which we can have all of the same things we have now. But the elements that it's created with, the elements that the food is grown in, all those things have to be purified and changed. The same way as we purify our minds, we purify all the creation, including the things that we create. They all have a spiritual connection as we create, which the Gentiles and the fallen energies take the life force, the spirit, out of everything within creation. All right? But that's one thing the books of remembrance do a good job on, teaching about the elements. All right? The Urka Dashah, the elements within creation, and how we connect it to all of the elements. All right? He through whom man experiences the sleeping or waking states is the all-pervading self. Knowing him, one grieves no more. He who knows that the individual soul, enjoyer of the fruits of action, is the self, ever present within, Lord of time, past, and future. Cast out all fear. For this self is the immortal self. He who sees the firstborn, born of the mind of Brahma, born before the creation of waters. He who sees the firstborn and sees him inhabiting the lotus of the heart, living among physical elements, sees Brahman indeed. For this firstborn is the immortal self. Now let's see the asterisk. Brahman, the absolute, impersonal existence, when associated with the power called Maya, which is the power to evolve as the empirical universe, is known as the firstborn. Maya is the creation. That's the illusion. That's the matrix. The matrix goes hand in hand with the creator's creation. Through the matrix is how he builds up his creations to return to him. All right? And we'll see as we go on. Maya represents the illusion, but it also represents the power to evolve as the empirical universe, the building blocks that we build upon. All right? The things that we can see are all a part of Maya. But through them, we also can be elevated, or we can be destroyed. Not destroyed in the sense of the spirit man being destroyed, but our flesh. All right? That being who is the power of all powers and is born as such, who embodies himself in the elements and in them exists, and who has entered the lotus of the heart, is the immortal self. That's why you gotta purify your heart. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna say he dwells within the heart of all beings. All right? There's a lot of other scriptures that confirm that same thing. That's why you gotta purify your heart. Like we just read, within that lotus flower of the heart, that's where that spirit man is sitting there dwelling, waiting to be set free. Chapter 12, Setsavatara. Meditation can be learned, and it must be practiced according to accepted rules. By its means, it is possible to realize the personal Brahman, who in union with Maya creates, preserves, and dissolves the universe. And likewise, the impersonal Brahman, the supreme consciousness who transcends all forms of being, who eternally is without attribute and without action. Oh, let's eat. Drink a little water here. Got a little bit more reading to go. Mind and matter are master and servant. That's a concept we done forgot. Mind and matter, master and servant, both have existed from beginningless time. The Maya, which unites them, has also existed from the beginning of time. When all three, mind, matter, and Maya, are known as one with Brahman, then is it realized that the self is infinite and has no part in action. Then is it revealed that the self is all. Matter is perishable. The Lord, the destroyer of ignorance, is imperishable, immortal. He is the one God, the Lord of the perishable and of all souls. By meditating on Him, by uniting oneness with Him, by identifying oneself with Him, one ceases to be ignorant. Know your Creator, and all fetters will be loose. Ignorance will vanish. Birth, death, and rebirth will be no more. Meditate upon Him and transcend physical consciousness, worldly consciousness. Then, thus will you reach union with the Lord of the universe. Thus will you become identified with Him, who is one without a second. In Him, all your desires will find fulfillment. The truth is that you are always united with the Lord, but you must know this. Nothing farther is there to know. Meditate, and you will realize that mind, matter, and Maya, the power which unites mind and matter, are but three aspects of Brahman, the one reality. The Lord God all-pervading and omnipresent, dwells in the heart of all beings. This is why we got to purify our hearts. Full of grace, he ultimately gives liberation to all creatures by turning their faces towards himself. He is the innermost self. He is the great Lord. He it is that reveals the purity within the heart, by means of which he, who is pure being, pure consciousness, may be reached. He is the ruler. He is the great light. He is the great light. The last lesson, we seen what the Druids called him, the Lord of Light. In the Bible, Christ is the true light. He is the great light, shining forever. This great being, assuming a form of the size of a thumb, forever dwells in the heart of all creatures as their innermost self. He can be known directly by the purified mind, the renewed mind, through spiritual discernment. Knowing him, men become immortal. Now let's read a little more here to finish it off about Brahman, to get an understanding. Bring it on home. O Brahman, supreme, formless art thou, and yet, though the reason none knows, thou bringest forth many forms. Thou bringest them forth, and then withdraws them to thyself. Fill us with thoughts of thee. Thou art the fire. Thou art the sun. Thou art the air. Thou art the moon. Thou art the starry firmament. Thou art Brahman supreme. Thou art the waters. Thou, the creator of all. Thou art woman. Thou art man. Thou art the youth. Thou art the maidens. Thou art the old man, tottering with his staff. Thou faces everywhere. Thou art the dark butterfly. Thou art the green parrot with red eyes. Thou art the thundercloud, the seasons, the seas. Without beginning art thou, beyond time, beyond space. Thou art he, from whose sprang the three worlds. Maya is thy divine consort, wedded to thee. Thou art her master. Thou art her master, her ruler, the master of temporal things, the master of the matrix, the master of the illusions created by drops of himself. Red, white, and black is she, each color an attribute. Many are her children, the rivers, the mountains, flowers, stones, trees, beasts, bird, and man. In every way, like herself. In every way, like herself. Thou, spirit in flesh, forgetting what thou art, unites with Maya. Thou, spirit in flesh, forgetting who you is, because you united with Maya. But only for a season. Parting from her, at last, thou regainest thyself. Thou Brahman immortal, and thou woven of clay, two beings, yet one. Like two beautiful birds, golden of plumage, companions inseparable, perched high up on the branches of the self-same tree. As man thou tastest the sweet fruits of the tree, the sweet and bitter fruits. But as Brahman, master of Maya, thou remains unseen, immobile, calmly observing. Forgetting his oneness with thee, bewildered by his weakness. Full of sorrows is man. Why? Because what it just said. Forgetting his oneness with the supreme consciousness. Forgetting our nature. Bewildered by his weakness. Which weakness comes through the flesh and the senses, your emotions. Full of sorrow is man. But let him look close on thee. Know thee as himself. O Lord, most worshipful, and beyond, behold thy glory. Lo, all his heavy sorrow is turned to joy. Changeless thou art, supreme, pure. In thee dwells the gods, the source of all scriptures. Thou art the source of all scriptures. Thou art. That's what we get from the keys of Enoch with the Torah, or all of the books of light, which are the building blocks of our consciousness. It builds up the light within. Brahman, the source of all scriptures, thou art. Yet, what shall scriptures avail if they be smooth on the lip, but absent from the heart? Oh, in the Bible, what did it say? Prophesy to us smooth things. We want her thing to sound good. But what did it say right here? Them smooth things be absent from the heart. To him who knows thee comes fullness, to him alone. Thou art Lord and Master of Maya. Man is her slave. Carnal consciousness is her slave. With Maya uniting, thou hast brought forth the universe. The source of all scriptures thou art, and the source of all creeds. The universe is thy Maya. And thou, great God, her Lord, wherever the eyes fall, there within every form thou dwells. One thou art, one only, born from many wombs, thou hast become many. Unto thee all return. Thou, Lord God, bestowest all blessings. Thou, the light, thou, the adorable one. Whoever finds thee finds infinite peace. Thou art Lord God of all gods. All the worlds rest in thee. Thou art ruler of the beasts, 2-footed, 4-footed. One's heart worship thee thine. Thou art the blissful Lord, subtler than the subtlest. In thee alone is there peace. Thou, sole guardian of the universe. Thou, Lord of all. In the hearts of thy creatures thou hidest thyself. Gods and seers become one with thee. Those who know thee die not. Of all religions, thou art the source. Of all religions, thou art the source. The light of thy knowledge shining. There is nor day, nor night, nor being, nor non-being. Thou alone art. Thou alone art. Thou the light, imperishable, adorable. Great glory is thy name. No one is there beside thee. No one equal to thee. Invisible is thy form, invisible to mortal eyes. The seers alone, in their purified hearts, they alone see thee. They alone are immortal. Neither male nor female art thou, nor neutral. Whatsoever form thou assumes, that thou art. Consciousness, that's the power of consciousness. Whatever form your consciousness can grasp, whatever it thinks it to be, it can be. Alright? That's how when the sons of God came down. Nah, it's a deeper meaning to that story right there. Alright? When you got supreme consciousness, you can use it for defilement purposes, or you can use it the way it's supposed to be used. Alright? And that's what he building us up back to now. And in some of these lessons where we get into, I got a lesson where Krishna teach on the 18 mystic powers that come from meditation. You're going to be able to see how going within is abilities and things that we got access to that we ain't been taught about. But first, we got to know the true nature of our creator, which is our true nature, which is consciousness. And through these books, we collecting more and more levels of light, more and more levels of consciousness. So that as we get built up, when we finally do go in to meditation, when we do go within, we'll have the power to heal and do all type of other things that we need to do through our consciousness. So right now, we're getting upgraded in our consciousness. We getting lit. The lights is getting lit. Thou does pervade the universe. Thou art consciousness itself. Thou art consciousness itself. Thou art creator of time. All knowing art thou. At thy bidding, Maya, thy power divine projects this visible universe. Maya is the visible universe. Maya is the names and forms. Thou art the primal being, the source. Thou appears as this universe of illusion and dream. Thou art beyond time, indivisible, infinite, the adorable one. Let a man meditate on thee within his heart. Let him consecrate himself to thee, and thou, infinite Lord, will make thyself known to him. Oh, we on a journey here. We on a journey. All right, the Most High preparing us. The Gentiles is preparing for war, while the Most High is preparing his spiritual soldiers. All right, we getting prepared in two different aspects. All right, we getting spiritually prepared to be able to endure what's coming to the earth. All right, in the two universes, so to say, the multiverse, the multi-dimensions, the dimensions are starting to blend more and more. And as we increase, their dimension is going to decrease and fall apart. Alright? But we on a path here, we on a journey. We getting lit. Alright? Peace.